I searched for God and found only myself. I searched for myself and found only God. That's a quote by Rumi. And I think it's pertinent to the video that I'm making today, because I wanted to talk about the power of fasting to heal yourself mentally. And it was an interesting sort of side effect of the fasts that I did in the summer of 2019, where I healed myself physically and found true health for the first time in my life. It was an interesting side effect that my mind got so much better. I had been riddled with depression and anxiety for basically my entire life. Obviously, it had gotten a lot worse during my 5 years of really bad chronic illness. And, you may be able to debate that getting rid of the physical ailments, had a large part in getting rid of the mental ailments. And that is definitely true. But as I've become more intuitive and more sort of experiential in the way that I deal with these things, I can feel a very different modality in the way my mind works. I've become so much more clear and focused and calm in general. But it's not just that fasting itself, the act of not eating, is what healed my mind. It's more that fasting is a catalyst for so many other things. There is something very spiritual about fasting. And there's a reason why fasting is an integral part of most of the major religions of the world. It is a way of getting in touch with the divine, of getting in touch with God. And that's exactly what I have experienced, and that I continue to experience in a more and more profound way every time I do a longer fast. Basically every single day. I fast almost every day. Well, no, that's not true. I'm sorry. I've been getting into a habit of every other day now, fasting like OMAD. So I would eat OMAD one day. That's one meal a day. And then the next day I'd eat maybe a 6-hour eating window. So I'm not constantly fasting. I'm actually now getting into the process of starting a routine of fasting maybe 30 to 36 hours once a week as well. In my language, the day Friday, the name of the day Friday, Fastedagur, means fasting day. And I was just like, that's pretty cool. So I'll just start fasting on Fridays. So that's what I'm going to do. And I just finished one of those 30-hour fasts yesterday. And I keep forgetting how incredibly profound the experience of fasting can be. And especially if you open yourself up to the more mental, emotional, spiritual aspects of fasting. Because it's obviously quite possible to just lie around in the sofa and binge Netflix while you're fasting, and you'll probably get some great physical benefits from doing that. But I'm afraid you'll miss a lot of the more nuanced spiritual benefits that you might otherwise gain. But on the other hand, I'm not even sure that you can ignore the insights that you gain from fasting, because they become so powerful. It's like everything calms down. Like your body obviously calms down and starts to eat itself, literally through autophagy, starts taking away the diseased cells and replacing them with new, healthier cells. But it also seems that thought just slows down. The hamster wheel in the mind, it just stops. Or, well, it doesn't stop, but it kind of slows down a little bit. The hamster takes a break, so to speak. And this gives you a chance like no other to really dive into a bit of introspection, to really, get to understand where your problem areas lie in life, because I'm almost certain that most of us have more problem areas than just our physical health. Like, nobody's living the perfect life, and we all have things that we aspire to and we want to get better at, and we want to be better people. And I believe that fasting is the perfect way to realize these aspirations. It's as if like you're taking a clarity pill. Like if the pharmacological system, like the medical industrial complex, was actually out for your best interests, they would make a clarity pill, and you'd take this clarity pill and be like, wow, I can see everything very clearly right now, and I can see where I have to work on things and where I have to be more grateful and thankful for things. And it's amazing. It really is. So I really encourage you to well, first of all, fast to heal yourself. Because if you're watching this channel, there's something wrong. I'm quite sure. There's something that you want to heal. There's something that you want to get rid of. And I don't want to promise you that everything will be healed, because I don't know. I only have my own experience to go from, and anecdotal evidence and the research that I've done. But I have become personally very confident in the power of fasting to heal absolutely anything. And I've seen stories and anecdotes of people who have healed things like HIV and cancer through fasting, gotten rid of arthritis, gotten rid of all kinds of autoimmune diseases. And I can't speak for these people, and I can only speak for myself. When I started doing more hardcore fasting, when I started becoming more diligent in following the fasting focused lifestyle, I simplified my diet just to a ridiculous degree. That's when I was sold. It required so little time and so little energy to heal something that I had been dealing with for years. And I as I've spoken about before, I did a 10-day long fast to begin with, and I healed myself like 50 or 60 or 70% of everything that I was dealing with. And I was just like, wow, I can't believe it. I can't believe that this is possible, that this has been possible from the beginning. And I won't say that nobody told me about it, because there are people trying to share the power of fasting with everybody in the world. But I turned a blind eye. I had heard about fasting, I'd seen it, but maybe I can hide behind the fact that I was indoctrinated to believe that any and all kinds of alternative medicine were just baloney, and you had to follow your doctor's orders, and you had to take the medicines that they're giving you, and all this. But I've since realized that taking back my mind was the biggest step to actually healing. Finally, I think that physical health and mental health are so much more interconnected than most of us assume. Yes, healing my body had a huge part in healing my mind. Absolutely, because the two are totally interconnected. Before going into the fasting, I did do quite a bit of work in developing mental resilience and discipline. I'd already gotten into a very, very strict meditation habit where I was meditating maybe an hour or two a day, doing like hardcore Vipassana meditations, and even like doing pain meditations. Don't really recommend them. Like, they're obviously not pleasant. What I'm talking about is I would sit in a posture like the lotus position, or just cross-legged, and not move for an hour or as long as I could, and just focus in on the various aches and pains that develop from doing that. And you'd be surprised, just sitting still, not moving a muscle, that becomes painful after a while. So I was already focusing in on the more disciplinary parts of healing. But what I'm trying to communicate here is that I think it's helpful to try to develop yourself mentally to the point where where you can take on a challenge like a 10-day fast without it being that much trouble. And I'm not, I don't think that's actually possible if you're fasting for the first time like that. For me, certainly, like I'd done loads of things, loads of difficult things in the past before I went into a 10-day fast, but the 10-day fast was by far the most difficult experience of my life. But it was also the most rewarding. It took me from a place of absolute despair and chronic illness and just constant pain to a place of thriving and vibrancy. And for that, I'm forever thankful. I think the last thing I want to mention is in this video about fasting and mental health. Because now I've gone into the fasting aspect. I just want to throw in a little extra tidbit here, which is again connected to the quote from Rumi from the beginning. I think that fasting and prayer go very well together. When I was doing my 10-day fast, I was praying like 3 times a day. Like I would have some difficult feelings, difficult thoughts. I'd want to quit, and I would just sit down and just like, dear God, will you please help me to make the right choice in this matter? Because obviously at the time I didn't know that fasting was the answer. I just kind of assumed, or I was doing an experiment on myself, like, and I was hoping that it would help me a little bit. But it ended up just completely breaking the spell. And that's what I wanted to leave you with. Like, I'm not Christian. I'm not, Muslim. I'm not Buddhist. I'm not any of those things. But I do believe in a higher energy, a higher essence. And I call it God. It's a term that I think has a lot of baggage, and I can totally understand if you want to choose a different term. But I think it would be very helpful to you, the seeker of true health, to start out by trying to seek a connection with this divine energy that permeates and envelops everything in the world. Because, believe it or not, there is strength to be found in such a connection. There is strength that can help you get through the discipline that needs to be taken in order to get through a long fast, for instance, or to get through or get started with a routine of compounding fasts. So bear that in mind. Otherwise, I'm going to end this video here. Check out my book, Health Simplified. I recently released it. It goes into my own healing journey and the insights that I gained from following that journey. And I go quite broadly into all areas of health that I've been working on, or had been working on up until the point that I've written that book. I'm going to have to write another book soon because I've been delving into all kinds of other areas these days. But check it out. It's about $5, and so it's cheap and it's concise. It has a lot of good insights, and I strove to try to make it as valuable as I possibly could. You can also check out my website, joyofawareness.com. I'll leave a link down below. I've got a few articles on there that you might enjoy reading. Otherwise, just like and subscribe this video if you gained any value from it. And I hope to see you next time. So, see ya.